The bombshell landed on a quiet Tuesday morning. No press conference, no dramatic statement. Just a single paragraph in a financial report that sent shockwaves through the golf world. The Saudi Public Investment Fund, which has poured over $2 billion into LIV Golf, is reconsidering its commitment. Sources say the fund is not willing to continue writing massive checks without seeing a return on investment. And after 4 years, that return has not materialized. LIV Golf could lose its funding after the 2026 season. The league that was supposed to revolutionize the sport is now on life support. The golf world has exploded. What does this mean for the players? What does this mean for the PGA Tour? What does this mean for the future of professional golf? The answers are shocking, and the clock is ticking. For more coverage in golf, subscribe and hit the notification bell. The Saudi Public Investment Fund has deep pockets, very deep. The fund is worth over $700 billion. It has invested in everything from Techstar top professional sports. It has funded LIV Golf to the tune of more than $700 billion. It has invested in everything from Techstar top professional sports. It has funded LIV Golf to the tune of more than $2 billion. That money paid for player contracts, venue fees, marketing campaigns, and legal battles. It bought the loyalty of some of the biggest names in the sport. It bought a seat at the table of professional golf. But even the deepest pockets have limits, and the Saudi fund is approaching its limit. According to multiple sources, the fund's leadership is frustrated. They were promised a return on their investment. They were told that LIV Golf would become a profitable enterprise. They were told that the league would attract major sponsors and global audiences. None of that has happened. The league is still losing money. The audiences are still small. The sponsors are still hesitant. The return on investment is zero. The fund is not a charity. It is an investment vehicle. It expects to make money. When it does not make money, it reconsiders its commitments. That is what is happening now. The fund is reviewing its options. It can continue funding LIV Golf in the hope that things will turn around. It can reduce its funding, forcing the league to scale back. Or it can pull out entirely, leaving LIV Golf to collapse. No decision has been made. But the possibility of a pullout is real, and it has the golf world terrified. The timing is significant. The 2026 season is already underway. Contracts are in place. Schedules are set. Players have planned their lives around the league. If the funding disappears after 2026, the league will have 1 year to find alternative sources of money. That is not enough time. The league would likely collapse. Dozens of players would be left without a tour. The golf world would be thrown into chaos. The players are the most affected. Many of them left the PGA Tour for LIV. They burned bridges. They made enemies. They sacrificed their reputations. They did it for the money. If that money disappears, they will have nothing. They cannot go back to the PGA Tour without serving suspensions and repaying their signing bonuses. They would be stuck. They would be trapped. They would be the biggest losers in this entire saga. The PGA Tour is watching closely. Officials are not commenting publicly, but privately, they are preparing. They are planning for a world without LIV Golf. They are considering how to reintegrate the players who want to return. They are also considering whether to welcome them back with open arms or to make them pay for their defection. The tour has not forgotten. The tour has a long memory. The golf world is in shock. The league that was supposed to be the future may not have a future at all. The money that was supposed to be infinite may run out. The war that was supposed to last forever may end, and no one knows what comes next. To understand why LIV Golf may lose its funding, we need to look at the numbers. And the numbers are not pretty. LIV Golf has never turned a profit. It has never come close. The league generates revenue from television contracts, ticket sales, and sponsorships, but those revenue streams are tiny compared to the costs. The player salaries alone are over $500 million per year. The venue fee seri another $500 million per year. The venue fee seri another $100 million. The marketing and legal costs add tens of millions more. The league loses hundreds of millions of dollars every season. The Saudi fund has been willing to absorb those losses. It viewed LIV Golf as a long-term investment. It believed that the league would eventually become profitable. It believed that the PGA Tour would eventually collapse. It believed that golf fans would eventually embrace the new product. None of those beliefs have been validated. The PGA Tour is still standing. The fans are still skeptical. The profits are still imaginary. The television ratings are a disaster. LIV Golf events draw a fraction of the audience that PGA Tour events draw. The final round of a typical LIV event might attract 200,000 viewers. The final round of a typical PGA Tour event attracts 2 million. The difference is staggering. Advertisers notice. They are not willing to pay top dollar for LIV broadcasts. The television revenue is minimal. The ticket sales are also disappointing. LIV Golf has tried to create a festive atmosphere at its events. Music, food, entertainment. But the crowds are still small. The average attendance is around 10,000 per day. That is less than half of what a typical PGA Tour event draws. The fans are not showing up. The atmosphere is not electric. The sponsors are hesitant. Some of the biggest names in golf equipment have refused to associate with LIV. Titleist, Callaway, TaylorMade, they have stayed with the PGA Tour. The sponsors that have signed with LIV are mostly smaller companies or companies with ties to Saudi Arabia. The sponsorship revenue is a fraction of what the league needs. The Saudi fund is losing patience. The executives who approved the LIV investment have moved on. New leaders are in place. They are asking hard questions. Why are we pouring billions into a losing venture? What is the exit strategy? When will we see a return? The answers are not satisfactory. The fund is not a bottomless pit. The money will run out eventually, and that time may be coming soon. Sakura. 2026 season may be LIV Golf's last. The league will finish its schedule. The playoffs will be held. A champion will be crowned, and then the uncertainty will begin. Will the Saudis write another check? Will they walk away? Will they sell the league to another investor? No one knows. The players are nervous. The fans are confused. The golf world is waiting. The reaction to the news that LIV Golf could lose its funding has been swift and intense. The golf world is divided. Some are celebrating. Some are mourning. Most are simply trying to understand what comes next. Let us examine the different reactions. The PGA Tour is quietly celebrating. Officials will not say so publicly, but behind the scenes, they are thrilled. They have always believed that LIV Golf would eventually collapse. They have been waiting for this moment. They are already planning how to welcome back the players who want to return, but they are also planning how to punish those who left. The tour has not forgotten. The tour has a long memory. The players who stayed on the PGA Tour are also celebrating. They feel vindicated. They were criticized for being loyal. They were called names. They were told they were missing out. Now, they are the ones who have security. They are the ones who have a future. They are the ones who made the right choice. One anonymous player told Golfix, "I told everyone that LIV was a bubble. It was only a matter of time before it burst. Now it's bursting. I feel bad for the guys who left, but they made their choice." Players who left for LIV are panicking. They are not commenting publicly, but privately, they are scrambling. They are calling their agents. They are calling their lawyers. They are trying to figure out what comes next. Some are hoping to return to the PGA Tour. Others are considering retirement. A few are exploring the possibility of starting a new league. The uncertainty is terrifying. The fans are divided. Some fans are happy. They have always hated LIV. They see it as a threat to the traditions of the sport. They want it to fail. "Good riddance," one fan wrote. "The Saudis tried to buy golf and failed. Now they can go home." Other fans are sad. They enjoyed the new format. They like the team aspect. They like the shorter events. They will miss LIV if it goes away. The media is in overdrive. Every golf outlet is covering the story. Every podcast is analyzing the implications. The consensus is that LIV Golf is in serious trouble. The only question is how bad it will get. Some believe the league will survive in a reduced form. Others believe it will collapse entirely. A few believe the Saudis will surprise everyone and double down. The Saudi fund has not commented, but sources say that a decision will be made before the end of the year. The fund wants to give the league one more season to prove itself. If the 2026 season does not show significant improvement, the funding will be cut. The clock is ticking. The pressure is on. LIV Golf has 1 year to save itself. What would happen if LIV Golf lost its funding? The consequences would be catastrophic for the players who left the PGA Tour. Let us examine the most likely scenarios. First, the league would likely declare bankruptcy. The assets would be sold. The contracts would be voided. The players would be free agents. They would be free to sign with any tour that would have them. But the PGA Tour would not simply open its arms. The tour has rules. Players who left would have to apply for reinstatement. They would have to serve suspensions. They would have to repay their signing bonuses. The tour would not make it easy. Second, some players would not be able to return. They burned too many bridges. They said too many negative things about the tour. They made too many enemies. The tour would find ways to keep them out. They would be forced to retire or play on minor tours. Their careers would be over. Third, the legal battles would begin. Players would sue the Saudis for breach of contract. The Saudis would countersue for fraud. The lawyers would make millions. The courts would be clogged. The stories would be ugly. The golf world would be distracted for years. Fourth, the PGA Tour would become the only game in town. The competition would be gone. The pressure to innovate would be gone. The tour would go back to business as usual. Some fans would be happy. Others would be bored. The sport would lose some of its energy. Fifth, the majors would be affected. The majors allowed LIV players to compete. They did not want to punish players for their choices. But if LIV collapses, those players will have nowhere to play. Their world rankings will plummet. They will not qualify for the majors. The major fields will be weaker. The tournaments will be less interesting. The players who left LIV are in a difficult position. They made a bet. They lost. Now they have to figure out how to move forward. Some will try to return to the PGA Tour. Others will try to start a new league. A few will retire. None of the options are good. None of the options are easy. The PGA Tour is in a strong position. It survived the LIV challenge. It is still standing. It is still profitable. It is still the premier golf tour in the world. The tour can afford to be patient. It can afford to be picky. It does not need the LIV players. They need the tour. The next year will be crucial. LIV Golf will play its 2026 season. The ratings will be watched. The attendance will be measured. The sponsors will be courted. The Saudi fund will evaluate. And then a decision will be made. The golf world will be watching every shot. The future of professional golf hangs in the balance. So what happens next? The LIV Golf funding crisis is unfolding in real time. The Saudi fund is evaluating. The players are panicking. The PGA Tour is preparing. The golf world is watching. Let us examine 3 possible outcomes. Outcome 1. The Saudis continue funding LIV Golf. They decide to give the league more time. They restructure the leadership. They change the strategy. They invest in marketing. They hope that things will turn around. This outcome is possible but unlikely. The Saudis have already given LIV 4 years. They have not seen progress. They are losing patience. Outcome 2. The Saudis reduce funding. LIV Golf continues to exist, but in a reduced form. Fewer events, smaller purses, fewer players. The league becomes a minor circuit. The top players leave. The remaining players struggle. The league fades into irrelevance. This outcome is more likely. The Saudis do not want to admit failure. They will keep the league alive, just barely. Outcome 3. The Saudis pull the plug. LIV Golf collapses. The league declares bankruptcy. The players are released from their contracts. The assets are sold. The experiment is over. This outcome is the most dramatic. It would be the biggest story in golf history. It would send shockwaves through the sport. It would leave dozens of players without a tour. It would force the PGA Tour to make difficult decisions. Which outcome is most likely? According to sources close to the Saudi fund, outcome 2 is the current frontrunner. They don't want to admit failure, a source told Golfix. They will keep the league on life support. They will reduce the funding. They will hope that something changes. But they are not going to pour more billions into a losing venture. The players are not happy. They feel betrayed. They were promised a future. They were promised security. They were promised that the money would never run out. Those promises are now broken. They are left to pick up the pieces. The PGA Tour is ready. Officials have been planning for this moment. They have a playbook. They know how to handle the return of LIV players. They will be strict. They will be fair. They will be firm. The players who want to come back will have to earn their way. The golf world is about to change. The LIV experiment is ending. The war is almost over. The sport will be reunited, but the scars will remain. The players who left will never be fully trusted. The players who stayed will never forget. The divisions will linger. LIV Golf could lose its funding after 2026. The golf world has exploded. What happens next will determine the future of professional golf. The clock is ticking. The stakes are high. The drama is just beginning. For more coverage in golf, subscribe and hit the notification bell.